Liz from the Peacock Homestead, and in this week's video where I'll be heading in our homestead kitchen, I'll be making a few things from scratch, including Monterey Jack cheese, a couple loaves of whole wheat bread, and I'm also going to be making a wonderful cheesecake, so that's exciting. And I'm also going to be talking about some treats I received in the mail from Grub Terra for my little chickies. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, let's get into the video. Hey, I just wanted to pop in real quick and talk about these treats I received in the mail from Grub Terra. Thank you, Celeste. So these are soldier black fly larvae. They're good for egg health, feather health. They have a good source of calcium, 75+%, and they're good for lizards, birds, fish, and reptiles. So that's amazing. And you can see through the bag, they're actually pretty big. But my chickens absolutely love them. They're fighting over them. And I'll have an update for you in a week or two to see how the eggshells are hardening. So I'll let you know about that. But I'll have the link in the description below if you want to check this out. This is a 1 pound bag. They have different sizes, of course. And I just wanted to thank Celeste and thank Grub Terra for this opportunity. And they love them. So as you can see, they're having a blast picking them up off the ground. And of course it's little brother approved, my rooster. I also wanted to add that Grub Terra is an American run business dedicated to developing sustainable feed solutions for pets and livestock. Their approach not only helps reduce landfill waste but also generates significant positive environmental impacts. They have discovered a revolutionary way to enhance the health of our chickens by improving feather quality, strengthening eggshells, and while upcycling food waste. And this is achieved through the use of the black soldier fly larvae that I was talking about, which convert into nutritious feed for chickens, fish, reptiles, and birds. And also, every 1 pound of larvae sold is 20 pounds of food waste being mitigated from landfills. The larvae within this bag are sourced from a farm in Mexico. All larvae are grown on 100% plant-based and 100% recycled food grade traceable feedstock. And these black soldier fly larvae are native to North America, and these insects quickly consume food waste and grow into high protein for your chickens. You can reach them at www.grubterra.com, info@grubterra.com if you want to email them. They have a 30-day money-back guarantee and 100% customer satisfaction. And now we're going to head into the kitchen and make some Monterey Jack cheese. I'm using the recipe from Home Cheese Making, and it is an American style cheese, and it's super delicious. I usually get this at the grocery store, but I really wanted to try to make it. It is on page 214 of the Home Cheese Making book. And I'm going to be doubling this recipe, so I'm using 4 gallons of milk in my big stock pot. I'm going to get all the milk in there and get the milk up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is around 32 degrees Celsius. My favorite thermometer to use in cheese making is a digital one, so it makes my life so much easier, and I don't have to sit there and wait for the little gauge to go up and read the temperature. So the digital makes it instant, so I like that. And of course Tiggy had to get some milk too. He always has to have a little. He always comes running when I make cheese. Never fails. So in this recipe I'm using animal rennet, calcium chloride, and I use macrophilic culture, which is this Flora danica. And since I'm doubling this recipe, the first thing I am going to do is the calcium chloride, and that just helps the milk coagulate and work with the rennet, so it makes the curds nice and coagulated. So when I cut the cheese and stir it, it makes beautiful little curds. So I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of calcium chloride with a 1/4 cup of non-chlorinated water. And I'm going to give that a stir. And if you notice, I'm stirring up and down as well. That's what the book calls for, so I'm going to listen to that. And I just give it a little stir to the left and to the right. Call it good. Now I'm adding my mesophilic culture. I have a teaspoon of that, and I'm actually just going to let that rehydrate on the surface for a good 30-45 minutes, and then I'm going to come back and give that a stir, and then I'm going to add my animal rennet. For the animal rennet, I am going to add a teaspoon of that, since I'm doubling it, in a 1/4 cup of non-chlorinated water, and I'm going to give that a really good stir, but I'm not going to stir it for any longer than 30 seconds to a minute, because it does seem to coagulate really quickly. So I'm going to let the animal rennet rest in there and coagulate for about a good 45-50 minutes, and we'll come back and check to see if we have a clean break. All right, it's been a good 45-50 minutes. I'm going to check to see if we have a clean break. I'm going to pop my little cheese spatula in there and bring up the curd, and it looks wonderful. So we're going to cut the cheese curds and we're going to let that rest for a good 5 minutes, and we'll come back and start increasing the temperature. We want to slowly increase the temperature to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 38 degrees Celsius, and slowly stir the cheese and cook it for about a good 35 to 40 minutes. And then this is going to be a washed curd. So I'm going to take half of the way out down to the curd line, and then I'm going to add water, hot water, about 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So right now I'm just slowly stirring, getting it up to temp. I'm taking off the whey up to the curd level, and I'm reserving this to make some ricotta cheese, because I like to make breakfast casseroles and different dishes with my ricotta. Even though I don't get a lot, it's worth saving, because I add it up with different cheese that I make, and I make a really nice dinner for us. Or you can put it in an omelet, whatever you like. So I've added the hot water, and I reserved all of the whey that I wanted, and now I'm going to let that sit for a few minutes, and we're going to do the squeeze test and see if the curds are knitting together well. So they look pretty good. They're not splooging out of my hand, and they're crumbling off nicely. So that makes me happy. So that means we're ready to put it in our cheese mold. But first, I'm going to pour off the whey into the sink. And then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt to the cheese curds. So that just means that I do not need to put it in a brine. So that makes me happy too, because brining it is nice, but it takes a lot of time. It takes about 20 hours for a 4-pound block of cheese. So this wheel of cheese, this Monterey Jack, is going to be just air dried after it's pressed all the way. And then I'm going to vacuum pack it up and put it in my cheese cave to age, and that will take about a couple of months. This is a quick cheese. I'm just showing you the 2 teaspoons of salt, and I'm going to add it to my curds and give it a nice mix. Make sure it's all incorporated well. Then there's the big mass of curds, about 4 pounds. And now I'm just going to carefully put the curds into the press and press it for a good 30 to 40 minutes for around 10 to 15 pounds of pressure. While the cheese is pressing, I wanted to give you a little garden update and show you all the things the deer got into. If it's not the deer, it's the bugs and then the cottonwood tree. I don't know. But things are looking pretty good though for all those things against my garden. I have some chamomile here. The deer ate that. They love that. I have some basil here. A little dragonfly is saying hello. He's so cute. And then I have some cilantro. I have that going to seed because I wanted to save the seeds. And so that's looking really good. I love the flowers and it has such a fragrant smell. Those are those. And then my barrage is exploding. It went from teeny tiny to humongous. And I've been using on all different kinds of things. I made a wonderful cake and I can't wait to show you that on the next video. But these are edible and this is medicinal. I have to do more research on that, but it does lots of things. This is my zinnia. And then over here I have my stinging nettles. So I'm just gonna let those go to seed as well. And then I have my pumpkins and my squash. I have buttercup, butternut, you name it. It's just a smorgasbord of different variety of squash. And in the same garden I have peppers and I also have some eggplants. And then I have some rhubarb there that's doing well. I actually cut it off from the bottom, like the whole stalk, and it grew back. So that is amazing. It's super strong. And then I have harvested some lemon balm. So I'm going to put that in my little dehydrator. Those are my eggplants. They're doing well. And the cotton tree is all over everything. It's hard to get it all the time. It's just constantly dropping. But that's fine. It's not hurting anything. There's a pumpkin that's taking over the garden. I have some thyme. It smells so beautiful. I love all the spices that I'm growing this year. Those are my peppers. They're getting really tall. And then in all the bare spots in the garden, I planted beans and peas. This is my zucchini. I believe in here I have bush beans that I planted in that bare spot in the garden. And the deer ate all of my radish pods, so I had to get rid of them, sadly. And then over here I replanted peas, so I have some peas gonna come up hopefully soon. And my bush beans are doing well. We harvested a bunch out of there. This is the garden that got into most with my spinach, my collard greens, and all of my beautiful lettuce. So I planted beans and whatnot and a little bit of dill in there. And they got a hold of my rose, but I'm getting new growth on it. So I'm not that upset. I have my echinacea. She's a little green yet. She'll bloom. And then I have these beautiful butterfly flowers. And then my marshmallow plant. This is a mucinogenic plant. It is wonderful to make cough drops with or tea. If you have a sore throat, it'll kind of lube up all of your insides and your throat. I have some brassicas here. It is my broccoli. Hopefully it comes up. I also have some strawberry mint that's going to flower, but they make such beautiful purple flowers. I want the bees to have them. I also have catnip, and then I have a little bubbleweed that I got a long time ago. It sends up these cute little purple flowers. I love them. And I have some sage and mint. Mint is awesome. Nobody likes that, the bugs or the deer. So that's one of my favorite plants, and it makes a wonderful tea. Then I have my carrots and my cucumbers. Hopefully we'll grow up that trellis. And then I have these zinnias, which I know they're going to bloom very soon. I can't wait for that. That's super exciting. This is the first year I'm growing zinnias. I can't wait to see them. But everything is doing okay as long as we keep it away from the deer. So we have to put our garden to bed at night. And it looks really crazy, but it doesn't matter as long as it's protected. And I think I'm going to try to pluck a garlic today just to see where it's at. Because the tops of the leaves, they look a little bit crazy, like they're kind of dying off, but I think they're not ready yet. They usually are ready between the end of August and the beginning of September, so we'll check on that after. And over here in the wooden gardens, I have some lettuce, so we'll be eating off of that. Some emergency lettuce. I was going to give it to the chickens, but I've been giving them other treats. Then I have some collard greens and some sunflowers. Over here, the deer had got all of my beautiful mammoth sunflowers, so that made me very upset. So I have some zinnias that ate some of those. So I've been trying to keep track and cover that up every night. And I'm going to replant my sunflower seeds that I saved from the year before there. And then my tomatoes, hopefully these are cherry. It's just a guessing game for what I planted, because I save seeds, but sometimes I forget to write what kind it is. But that's okay, at least it'll be something. And then I have a rogue pumpkin over here running into the woods. And then just this to the side of that, I have these beautiful wild black caps, and we've been making wonderful desserts with them. We made a cheesecake, we made a cake with it, we flavored some kombucha. So that is super exciting. So we're really pumped about that this year. They're doing really well. It's because the hubs fertilized it. And this is what's left over of the hostas on the side of the house. That has a window where the cat room is, and they really decimated that. They're such stinker butts. They're like having big rats in your garden. So they decimated this hosta, and then the hosta over on this side, and then they got to the ones in the front yard as well. I don't know what it is, but they really love my yard this year. So let's see, we're gonna pluck a garlic and see how big it is. I have a feeling it's not gonna be that big. So if I pluck it, I'm gonna use it in a dinner this week. And just kind of pull that out. It is really in there. So, oh, that looks really small. So I'm probably not going to harvest any of the garlic. It's definitely small, but it'll work in a dish that I'll make this week. It smells wonderful. I can't wait to harvest that, but it needs a lot more work. So come on, garlic, get growing. And now we're just gonna check on the goatee girls, hang out with them for a minute, and then we'll head back in the kitchen. Trying, Tiana. Here I am. I'm coming, Luna. Good girl. All right, we are back in the kitchen, and I'm gonna flip this and we're gonna press it again for about 4 to 5 hours at about 40 to 50 pounds of pressure. And then we'll do one more press overnight, and that'll be for 8 to 12 hours at about 50 to 60 pounds of pressure. So it looks pretty good. It has a lot more work, so we're gonna pop that back in and get it in the press. And I just wanted to show you, this is what the garden looks like. Guarding it away from the deer, it looks crazy, but it works until we get our fence. So I can't wait for that, because that's a lot of work every night, putting the garden to bed like that. And now that we put the garden to bed, I'm going to do the last press, and we'll come back and I'll show you what that looks like after it comes out the next morning. It is the next morning and it is a start to another day. So we are going to take this out of the mold and we are going to put this on a wooden mat. It looks like little chopsticks kind of sewn together. And I'm going to put this little buggy saver over it so the bugs don't get to it. But let's take a look to see how well that knit together. It actually looks really good. It looks like it knit together very well. So I'm just going to take the cheesecloth and put it on its little wooden mat, and then I'll let it air dry for about a couple days. I'll flip it 1 to 2 times a day, and then we'll vacuum pack it up and put it in the cheese cave. This cheese will be ready in a couple of months and I can't wait to try it. On this day, I decided to make some wheat bread. It was so hot, it overproofed my bread, but that's okay. So I'm gonna make some freshly milled wheat bread, and it does have a little bit of sourdough starter in it. So this is what the wheat berries look like. And then I just found the recipe online, and if you guys wanted to check that out. So we're gonna start by milling our hard white wheat berries and then get going on making that bread. I'm just going to add all my ingredients together and I'm going to mix it up really well, and I'm going to let it soak for a good 30 minutes. I let the oats soak in the wet ingredients, and then I'll let it rise for an hour. And that's where I made a mistake because it's so hot in here. It definitely overproofed a little, but that's fine. It was delicious. I'm trying to get the hubs to like wheat bread, but he thinks it's absolutely disgusting. I don't know why. Maybe it's a texture thing, but I thought it was delicious. I put one of the loaves in the freezer for later, and I ate the loaf that I saved out for myself. I ate it for lunch. I had grilled cheese sandwiches all week, and it was delicious. And this is the lemon balm that I harvested. I got a whole bunch, so that's super exciting. I'm going to dehydrate that up and make teas with it. I got a little helper there. And I also have some elderflower. I was going to make some tea with that, so I'll dehydrate that as well. And then I have 3 types of mint here that I like to use for teas and tinctures. And there is my bread, and it's still rising. So I'll let that rise, and I'm also going to be making a cheesecake, and for the topping I'm going to be using my wild black cap raspberries. So I will show you that. I have all my mint and my lemon balm and my elderflowers and a few other herbs in there drying. So I love this thing. I got it off Amazon. It has little zippers so the little buggies can't get into it. And it's also saving money because I don't have to use my dehydrator, and it's not heating up my house. So this was definitely a good investment, especially for the summertime. And I took all of my old spices out that were nice and dry. So this is my mint. I have it in a bag that says 24 because I just mixed it in there because I don't mind. Then I have some rosemary and thyme that I had dried. So hopefully I'll fill this jar. And that's exciting. Those are one of my favorite spices, the rosemary and thyme. Then I have some basil. I never really get that. This is the best year I've had for basil. And then these are my sunflower seeds that I had saved, and I gotta plant those, replant where the deer had eaten those. So I gotta get busy on that this week. I am gonna get these 2 loaves of wheat bread into my baking dishes. I greased up my pans with my beef tallow. I like using my beef tallow for a lot of different ways of cooking. I've used it in pancakes. I know that sounds crazy, but it makes super delicious pancakes. Instead of using coconut oil, I use melted beef tallow. And then I use it for all different kinds of cooking, like I cook with my eggs and I make different batters. I'm trying to experiment more with my freshly milled grain. I want to make some Pop-Tarts with it, and I also would like to make a pie crust with it, so I will take you along when I do that. So I'm just going to roll this up. I know it looks crazy, but this is a stiff dough, but it'll rise up, it'll be okay. We'll get those into the baking dishes, and I'm going to let them sit for about 20 to 30 minutes and rise about 1 to 2 inches above the edge of the pan. And then I'm going to bake these 2 loaves at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about a good 40 minutes. And then I'll check the internal temperature. It should be around 200 degrees Fahrenheit when it's done. I switched my beeswax wrap to this little bread bag because it seemed to be a little heavy and it wasn't rising. And so that's good enough. I feel like it's overproofed, but that's because it's 90 degrees. It's probably hotter in the house. But they turned out really nice. They're kind of floppy a little bit, but that's okay. Wheat bread doesn't really rise that much unless you mix it with a all-purpose flour. I'm just going to get going on making this cheesecake. For the crust, I use graham crackers, a little bit of sugar, and a dash of salt. And for the batter, I use 2 little 8-ounce packets of cream cheese, as well as some eggs and a dash of salt with some sugar and vanilla extract. And then I'm going to take these black caps and I'm going to add a little water and sugar, kind of get them boiled up a little bit, and I'm going to add some beef gelatin to it just to give it a little stiffness. And then I'm going to bake this in the oven for about a good 35 to 45 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And it turned out really nice. We really enjoyed this, and it was something new, so it was fun to make too. I thought it was interesting. And that's what that looked like. And I just wanted to say that's it, friends, and I thank you so much for coming along and watching my videos, and thank you so much for my new subscribers. If you are new here, I'd love it if you give me a subscribe. I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed week, and I'll see you in the next one, friends.